What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on my channel. I hope that everyone who is watching this video is currently having an amazing day. So recently I was scrolling on r/osugame and I found this rather interesting post that may be the reason why you clicked on this video. This post was made by someone that has a rather suspicious username that I'm not going to read out in this video. The account was literally created the day that this was posted, and the post is literally advice as to how to improve in Osu, and a lot of people actually like what he's saying in this post. Now I will give credit where it's due that I'm not the first person to talk about this post. Capnoi, who is another content creator in the Osu space, has already made a video about this post, and I do suggest that you give his video a watch after watching this one, since both videos are pretty much a different perspective on the same topic. Okay, so let's start with the first paragraph of the post. Play Osu no less than 3 days a week, but not every day for your finger ache. Play variety difficult of maps, but mostly map almost FC. For people above 4000 PP means 1 to 3 miss. With accuracy above 95, I have no idea. For under 4000 PP, you're too shit, don't retry. Your friend, he retry 200 time per Osu time and waste 30 minutes per day playing intro of map and mind block. Have consistent pooling map that play frequent to compare but also add new map. Focusing effort important, do not practice 5 skill a day, you are waste time. 2 maximum unless D rank vermin, I do not care. Play more 2 hour a day, probably waste of time unless you pop off and FC mini scores. Okay, so you can probably tell this is complete broken English that is barely understandable, so let me translate and tell you what he actually means by this. Play no less than 3 days a week, and do not play every single day because your fingers will eventually hurt. Taking breaks is important, so that's why it's best to play at least like 3 or maybe 4 days a week. A variety difficulty of maps is also pretty good to play, but you should probably focus on maps that you can almost FC, and he is mostly referring to people that have more than 4000 PP. When he means almost FC, he means 1 to 3 miss. By gradually increasing the difficulty of the maps, you will eventually see some pretty good improvement compared to, let's say, jumping from a 6 star all the way to a 7.8 star, which will take you a lot more time to get used to because you're jumping from a 6 star all the way to a 7.8 star, which is a big jump in difficulty. For the people that have less than 4000 PP, or just in general anyone who is playing this game, he's suggesting that you don't retry spam in the game. It's just a waste of time and you will eventually get mind blocked if you retry a lot of times in a certain section of the map. It's best to play the entire map all the way through instead of repeating the same pattern over and over again, because that way you will most likely avoid mind block. He also suggests that you have a pretty good collection of maps that you will frequently play almost every day, but you should always add new maps to the same collection just so you can switch up things a little bit from time to time. He also says that you should improve at maximum 2 skill sets and not focus on 5 of them every single day. And at the end of this paragraph, he says that you should play 2 hours a day at max, because anything more than that, it will probably be a waste of time. In the second paragraph, he pretty much states that genetics is a lazy excuse that a lot of people are using, and that there's no reason for you to not be the next Emrek, for example. He also states that Emrek is pretty much Osu's soldier child or whatever, and that he focused so much in improving in Osu that he wouldn't be able to do anything else, like for example calculus. Now don't get me wrong, it's pretty good to motivate people in becoming the very best version of themselves, but sometimes you really gotta put some realistic expectations in some people. Genetics wouldn't be the actual word to use in this situation. It's rather talent, should we say. Simply put it, not everyone is the same. Some people improve faster, some people improve slower. There will always be a player that will be better than you in certain aspects of the game. However, always remember that hard work always outweighs talent. And you should always, and I mean always, strive to be the best version of yourself in whatever it comes in life. Even if it's just a video game, if you know what I mean. In the third part, he pretty much says that if you have fun with Osu only when you get PP, then you should quit immediately, because you will not have any fun in the future and you will probably drag down new players with you. I don't know how much I agree with this. Let me know what you think about this part down in the comments. And also, speaking of which, a huge percentage of people that watch my videos are not subscribed to my channel, so if you want to help me out in my journey to reach 20k subs on YouTube, then be sure to hit that sub button. It would really be appreciated. In the fourth part, this person pretty much says that playing maps that are challenging is misleading the dearest 6 digits, because if you're a 6 digit and you retry spam the big black for, let's say, 500 tries, you will most likely not improve in the game. He also states that play more is very misleading advice to give for 6 digits, because 1 hour of good practice on certain maps is way better than 2 hours of playing many maps but bad practice. Now the next paragraph is where it gets rather interesting. This is what he says: play X to improve Y is also so misleading. Play X will improve your X, not your Y. It may work sometimes, but if you play X, you will most likely improve faster at X compared to Y. Only exceptions are no modifications. Most good aiming DT top players were making no mod aim until 400 PP, and then there's no TV sized maps left for them that gives PP, which also gives them good foundation for faster aim and not having to focus on it as much. Okay, let me explain this in the most simplest terms ever. By playing X, you improve at X and not at Y. What he means by this is that if you play, let's say, DT aim jumps, you can expect to be good at DT streams because you will need to practice DT streams separately. Players that can be used for this example could be, let's say, Lifeline or even a Kolibet. Both players were known in this community at one point as DT aim one tricks, as if the only thing they could have done is just play DT aim maps. But both of them at one point managed to get the rooting, and with time they practiced and eventually became good at speed as well. I mean, Aquilibet took that personally because my god, he literally set the PP record in this game, and when he set that PP record, legit he managed to get called a speed one trick. So yeah, believe me, when you call him a speed one trick, he takes that as a compliment, not as an insult. And in the last part of this paragraph, he pretty much says how certain skill sets can be good foundations for other skill sets. Like for example, how no mod aim can be a good foundation for improving DT aim in the future. I mean, if I'm not wrong, legit Whitecat started out with no mod aim and then slowly but surely switched to stuff like DT aim 3 mod with time, and you know how the rest goes. I mean, if you watch my Malishevsky or Nahu's documentary, you'll pretty much see the same thing happening with them. And finally, the last part of this post is where he says that you should only use rooting if you never plan to go back on mechanical switches, because the feeling of mechanical switches won't be the same after you've switched to magnetic switches and played with them for a pretty decent amount of time. Which might genuinely be true because I've seen a couple of people on Twitter, let's say, try a certain speed map with rapid trigger on and rapid trigger off. When they turn that off, they simply can't hit a 3 to 4 burst node pattern in the map, but when they turn that on, they're simply able to play the entire map with loads and loads of streams without any problems. This is mainly because when you play with rapid trigger, you will probably have a different type of tapping technique, so that's why. Which again, that doesn't mean that you really need rapid trigger to be good at the game. For example, Nideric, who does indeed use keyboards that have rapid trigger on them, he in fact turns the rapid trigger off because he plays way better without rapid trigger on. You can watch my episode with Nideric on the Beat Talk podcast if you want to know more as to why he doesn't play with rapid trigger. But yeah, that's essentially the entire post. For some reason, a lot of people are calling this the Quran or the Bible of Osu improvement, because it straight up tells you to your face what you really need to do in Osu to improve. And a lot of people in the replies of the post say that this is genuinely good advice for improving in the game. Some random person by the name of Cat whatever, I cannot pronounce that, decided to randomly create a Reddit account and go on r/osugame to spit some wisdom on all these players that try to improve. No overcomplicated bullshit, no any of that, just straight to the point as to what you need to do to improve. But you know what's also interesting? The fact that Emmerich for some reason decided to actually release a song. Oh, you think I'm joking? No, I'm dead serious. You can click the video on screen right now to find out more information on the latest Osu News episode. Believe me, you don't want to miss out on this.